That's right. The US government has just rolled out a hefty 26% import tax, and trust me, it's about to send shockwaves through your favorite shopping habits. But here's the kicker. This isn't just any tax hike. It's laser-focused on products from one of the world's biggest manufacturing giants, China. From gadgets to garments, Chinese imports have been the backbone of affordable shopping for years. But with this new tax, those unbeatable deals might just become a thing of the past. So what does this mean for you? Let's break it down. Imagine snagging your favorite tech accessory for $10. With the new 26% import tax, that same item now costs $12.60. It might not seem like much at first glance, but those extra dollars add up fast. And it's not just electronics. We're talking clothing, home goods, toys, the list goes on. Everyday essentials that once fit snugly into your budget are now creeping up in cost, all thanks to this import tax. But wait, there's more. This tax isn't just a random move. It's part of a broader strategy by the US government to address trade imbalances and protect domestic industries. However, the immediate impact? Higher prices for consumers like you. While the intention is to boost American manufacturing, the reality is a bit more complex. Many US companies rely on Chinese components to assemble their products. This means production costs could rise, leading to, you guessed it, higher prices at checkout. And let's not forget the potential ripple effects. Retailers might pass these increased costs onto consumers or worse, reduce their workforce to offset expenses. It's a delicate balancing act with your hard-earned money hanging in the balance. Take this smartphone, for example. Many of its parts are sourced from China. With the new import tax, the cost to produce and sell this device increases, and that extra cost is likely coming out of your pocket. Here's a quick rundown of some of the most impacted items. Electronics, smartphones, laptops, and accessories. Apparel, clothing, and footwear. Home goods, furniture, and appliances. Toys. Popular children's toys and games. If these are staples in your shopping list, it's time to brace yourself for some price hikes. So what can you do to navigate this new landscape? Here are a few tips. 1. Shop smart. Look for sales, discounts, and consider buying in bulk before prices climb even higher. 2. Explore alternatives. Seek out products made in countries not affected by the import tax or consider domestic options. 3. Stay informed. Keep an eye on news updates and be aware of how these changes impact your favorite brands and products. Remember, knowledge is power. By staying informed and proactive, you can make savvy decisions that protect your wallet in these changing times. The 26% import tax may have been sold as a patriotic economic shield, but beneath the surface lies a ticking time bomb, one that could detonate the American economy into a full-blown recession. And guess what? It's already happening in slow motion. When you jack up the price of Chinese imports, which include everything from tech to textiles, you're not just making phones and sneakers more expensive. You're triggering a catastrophic chain reaction across the entire financial ecosystem. This isn't speculation. It's history repeating itself with a vengeance. Let's unpack what no one's telling you. The invisible cost, America's economic fragility. At first glance, the logic seems simple. Punish China, protect American jobs, but reality is messier than headlines, US. Companies have relied on low-cost Chinese goods for decades. Whether it's raw materials, machinery, electronics, or pharmaceuticals, China has been the silent engine powering American affordability. Slamming a 26% import tax on that ecosystem doesn't just slap a surcharge on foreign products. It disrupts supply chains that took years to build. And that disruption isn't painless. Companies now face skyrocketing operational costs. Small and medium businesses are choking. Their profit margins are getting shredded. These aren't just stats. These are real businesses laying off real workers, downsizing production, delaying investments, and freezing hiring. When companies can't grow, neither can the economy. Already, CEOs across industries are sounding alarms in earnings calls. Many have downgraded their forecasts for Q2 and Q3, citing raw material shortages and cost blowouts. Sectors like retail, manufacturing, and construction are particularly bleeding. Consumers feel it too. Prices are up. Wages aren't. And when spending stalls, GDP shrinks. Recession trigger number 1. Supply chain breakdown. Before the tariff bomb, the global supply chain was a tightly wound machine. Now it's a scrambled mess. The cost of doing business in the US is ballooning. Chinese suppliers were once the lifeline for parts, tools, chemicals, and electronics. With that tap running dry or running 26% more expensive, US companies have no choice but to find new suppliers. But that transition takes time, logistics, and money, none of which are in abundant supply right now. This supply chain chaos has led to increased lead times, delayed launches, and canceled orders across industries. Imagine a car manufacturer missing semiconductors, or an HVAC firm missing copper tubing. Production stalls, jobs are cut, revenue collapses. Now multiply that across tens of thousands of firms. Recession trigger number 2. Wall Street meltdown. While Main Street struggles to stay afloat, Wall Street is having a panic attack. The Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 have all posted sharp declines since the tariff announcement. The Russell 2000, which tracks small-cap stocks, many of which are highly sensitive to raw material costs, has officially entered bear market territory, down over 20% from recent highs. Markets hate uncertainty, and tariffs are the definition of unpredictable. Investors are pulling out. Companies are delaying IPOs, and VC funding is slowing. Billion-dollar mergers are being reevaluated. It's a bloodbath. And here's the scary part. We're seeing similarities to 2018 and even 2008 patterns. Rising tariffs, falling consumer confidence, market corrections. Add rising interest rates from the Fed trying to battle inflation, and you've got the perfect recession cocktail. Recession trigger number 3. Global retaliation and isolation. What goes around comes around. China has already responded with retaliatory tariffs of their own on US goods. Other trade partners are mulling similar measures. European allies aren't thrilled either. So while we're paying more for Chinese imports, American exporters, especially farmers, tech firms, and auto manufacturers, are getting frozen out of international markets. Soybeans? Blocked. Auto parts? Delayed. Consumer tech? Canceled. With fewer buyers abroad, American companies are forced to lay off workers and cut operations even further. Export-heavy states like Texas, Iowa, and Michigan are already feeling the crunch. Meanwhile, allies are growing weary of America's go-it-alone strategy. If trade pacts collapse or stall, America could lose its place in the global supply chain for years. Recession trigger number 4. Shrinking consumer confidence. According to a recent University of Michigan report, consumer sentiment dropped by over 11% in just 2 weeks after the tariff rollout. Why? Because people aren't dumb. They know that if prices go up but wages stay flat, their money buys less. That means less eating out, less online shopping, fewer car upgrades, postponed vacations, and canceled home renovations. In a consumption-based economy like the US, where nearly 70% of GDP is driven by spending, this is devastating. Fewer purchases omriars lower revenues, omriars layoffs, omriars create even less spending. It's a feedback loop, and we're in it. Recession trigger number 5. Political and policy paralysis. Let's not forget, 2025 is an election year. While the White House frames the tariffs as a strategic move to protect American values, critics call it economic suicide. The Federal Reserve is stuck in a bind. If they lower interest rates to stimulate growth, inflation could spike again. But if they raise rates to fight inflation, borrowing costs will go up, strangling growth further. It's lose-lose. In Congress, the division is deeper than ever. Some support the tariffs. Others want emergency subsidies for affected sectors. But there's no consensus. In the meantime, businesses and consumers are left in limbo, stuck in an environment of fear and hesitation. Industry by industry breakdown. The recession ripples. Tech? The heart of Silicon Valley beats with Chinese microchips. With tariffs, tech firms are facing soaring costs. New product lines are being delayed or shelved. Startups are running out of runway. Retail. Walmart, Best Buy, and Target have all warned of higher prices. Inventory is backing up. Consumers are buying less. Margins are shrinking. Auto. Detroit's giants, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, rely heavily on Chinese components. Production lines are stalling. Layoffs have begun in some plants. Agriculture. U.S. farmers were just recovering from previous trade wars. Now with retaliatory tariffs, they're losing access to Chinese markets again. Farm bankruptcies are on the rise. Construction. Materials like steel, aluminum, and copper, much of which comes from China, are now significantly more expensive. projects are being paused or canceled. What happens next? The recession roadmap. If trends continue, and they likely will, we're looking at a classic slowdown. 1. GDP growth below 1% by Q3. 2. Unemployment rising to 6% or more by Q4. 3. Interest rate whiplash from the Fed trying to control inflation and recession simultaneously. 4. A potential housing market freeze due to high mortgage rates and economic uncertainty. 5. Bank collapses or bailouts for over-leveraged sectors like agriculture or logistics. And here's the final punch. Recessions don't announce themselves. By the time it's official, you're already in it. You're already paying the price. The 26% import tax was marketed as a defense strategy. But what if it's the fuse to the next financial crisis? Prices are rising, jobs are vanishing, businesses are bleeding, investments are stalling, confidence is crashing. And all this from a policy that was supposed to make America competitive again. In reality, it's making everything more expensive, unstable, and uncertain. So act like your future depends on it, because it does. Cut ruthlessly, earn aggressively, invest wisely, protect relentlessly, adapt constantly.